Olá, pessoal! Hoje, dando sequência às minhas conversas com profissionais de outros países, eu vou entrevistar a minha colega do Conselho Internacional de Psicólogos, a doutora Amina Muazzam, do Paquistão. Vamos conversar sobre como ela está lidando com a situação da pandemia e como o seu país está enfrentando esses problemas. Tenho certeza que vai ser uma conversa muito interessante e que você vai aprender muito sobre a cultura do Paquistão. Okay, hi Amina, thanks for your time. Welcome.
My pleasure to be for this interview. Thank you very much for counting me in for this activity.
Amina, where are you now? In which country do you live?
I live in Pakistan, and I think people generally don't know much about Pakistan in good terms. So maybe I would be able to get chance to speak about it as well during the interview. So I'm living in one of its largest province, Punjab, and the capital city where I am is Lahore.
Amina, I know you are a psychologist. We share a role together in the International Council of Psychologists. And
Yes.
can you tell us a little bit more about your profession and the place where you are working?
Yes, sure. Thank you. I'm basically an educationist and expert in psychometrics, and you can say me as a social scientist. And much of my work is related to the area of health psychology. Currently, I'm serving as tenured associate professor in Lahore College for Women University, which is one of the largest women university in Asia. I did my PhD in the field of applied psychology with specialization in health psychology on HEC competitive scholarship. I have been invited in different TV talks and morning shows to reflect my opinion on different matters. Majorly where the women are prime suffers, they invite me for that, or opinion about different health matters. As you know, I'm working and has been elected as director at large at ICP for the 3 years term from 2018 to 2021. And I keep publishing different research papers in national and international journals. So this is briefly about me. And about another role which I'm excited to tell you about, that I'm also heading an active citizen program here. Let me tell you briefly about Active Citizen Program. It's basically a flagship program of British Council, which focus on youth leadership and community engagement. So in my university, it was introduced as a mandatory course for undergrad students, and the students are supposed to do social action projects in community. And the basic purpose of that social action project is to focus on improvement of education, health, environment, and many other themes in their local communities. So I'm heading that program in my university, which is being run in 40 departments, and around 2,000 girls are being the part of that social action project. So that's a huge work which we are doing here for the community services, and it is being supported by British Council.
Well, I mean, so it seems that you are very active in your profession. And is it usual in your country? Are there many psychologists, and is it normal that every psychologist is very active as you are in many areas?
Well, this is an interesting question you have asked, because here I will be going to praise about myself more maybe. Because in Pakistan, first of all, let me tell you that as far as the education is concerned, mostly the females are not being privileged to get good education in most of the cities. I'm blessed to be the part of the family where education was the prime, objective of my parents to get to the daughters. But in most of the families, it is not like that. The prime thing is that the female should get married as early as it should be. But my parents were interested in both getting me married and both giving a good education. So So I got married in a family where I completed most of my education after my marriage. So it was a win-win situation for me that my family was supportive and my husband and my in-laws were supportive. But in large cities, usually females are getting education and psychology is being, taught as one of the major subjects, and usually females are like to go for that subject. But they do not tend to get higher degrees in psychology, and they're not practicing it as a profession, and they just did it generally till the um, undergrad level or graduate level, and then they, generally get married and the educational process is stopped. So there are very few good psychologists in Pakistan, and if I talk about only Lahore, which is one of the largest city, second largest city of Pakistan with 10.2 million population, um, we have very few good psychologists here. We can just count them in our fingertips. So that's not much common. And then if you talk about the psychiatrists, they are even less than the psychologists. So it's not very much common here. So the responsibility is more on us.
It is, yes. So you have also a pioneering role to play there, and that's very important.
Yeah, being a pioneer in one thing, I would like to share that since I'm the part of a female university, it's because maybe this concept is new for you people to hear that there is a concept of even a women university. Because in Pakistan, females are not being able to get education in co-education sectors. So this is a new concept, and we have 15,000 girls on this very campus where I'm teaching. And there are other affiliated campuses as well. So in my university, I started the PhD program back in year 2011. So it was a great opportunity for females to do PhD in psychology, because prior to that, there was no female university where PhD program was being offered. So you have to think about that. What are the basic things which your community requires, and you need to do things. So this is one of the things which I initiated, and I'm glad that now 34 girls are being, have completed their PhD from my department.
Well, I know, Amina, that there are a lot of things that I would like to talk to you about your culture and your country. It sounds to be very interesting, and it's very important when we are in the international community. And as we both are part of the ICP, I think this is one of the ways that we can exchange our experiences. And I wish there were more ways and there were more people exchanging these kinds of experience. But today I would like also to ask you about how are you in Pakistan dealing with the COVID-19?
Yes, Alison, since you know that the whole world, around 188 plus countries are observing this COVID-19 pandemic, so we are also on the same page. Although the situation here in Pakistan is not that bad if you look around what other countries are being experiencing, but still we have 15,000 cases which are being reported as positive cases of coronavirus. And so far, the death toll, which I recently came to know, is reaches around 327 or 26, something like that. So basically, I think that there are the two different reasons which I can, look into. That maybe we are not known about the exact number of cases which are being available in Pakistan,
Mhm.
because we are seriously lacking the facilities to test this disease. We have very few testing centers in Pakistan, and they are located only in big cities like Lahore and in Karachi. So let me talk about to you about Lahore only. In Lahore, as I told you, we have 10.2 million population, and we have here three centers which are being set up by the government to do this testing. And it was initiated by one private lab actually, but then government took the control. The charges for one test is around 8,000 rupees for one person. So basically, when I will be telling you briefly about the economic condition of my country as well.
Okay.
So you will get to know that 8,000 rupees is a huge amount for a person to go for testing.
I
So
see.
generally, um, people go for testing only when they are sure that they are being caught by this disease.
Mhm.
Otherwise, for the precautionary measures and for the safety reasons, people don't tend to go for this test. So one thing is that, the other thing is that, which I felt as a psychologist, that whenever a person is being diagnosed with coronavirus and it is being confirmed that he's positive, he's being stigmatized. The way the media is dealing with this disease is really, really shameful. What I have seen that people are making videos of those people who are being diagnosed at who are being identified at different places, that the ambulances are coming and they're picking the people up and they're taking them away. The people are making movies of that and they're putting it on social media and giving their house addresses, their names and their family details, which is highly, highly unethical. So people feel that if they are being stigmatized, being the victim of a coronavirus, it's better to be home isolated. It's better to stay at home and to treat themselves by themselves rather than giving information about the government that they are not feeling well. So this is one thing which I feel is a reason that not much cases are being reported officially.
I see, and it's not very good when we stigmatize the people, and of course they are going to react about that. And well, I don't want to compare our countries because I don't have the data for that. I'm not a specialist, but I see that what happens in Pakistan also happens here in Brazil because our economy is not very good, and most people can't have the test. Only the people who are really feeling very sick are going to the hospitals and receiving the tests. So I have this impression as well here in Brazil that the number of cases are much larger than we are seeing.
And moreover, there is another thing: when someone go to the hospital to get himself tested, they ask for the symptoms, and if they feel that few of the symptoms are missing, and even one or two of the symptoms are missing, they don't go for tests. They keep them into the waiting line because they don't have testing kits available here. So there is some issues on the part of the government as well, that they don't have facility to test many people.
Right. Amina, I know that you are leading research about the COVID-19, about the impressions of the people, about the disease, about the virus. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. Basically, it started with the case that I initiated an online counseling services for that COVID-19 pandemic. So we set up an online service and we started receiving the calls of different people from different backgrounds. So while talking to them each day, I keep receiving 13 to 14 calls from different individuals. And what I get to know is that we seriously need to see the perception and beliefs of the people around this phenomena. So the idea of conducting a research comes into my mind after doing that online counseling stuff. So then I developed a survey, and I thought initially I thought it should be for the Pakistani people. Then I extended my idea, and I thought I should go beyond Pakistan. I should look how the people across the globe are having perceptions and beliefs about this disease. So the survey is in the process of data collection. Once it will be completed, I would definitely like to share that what kind of the perception we have around the globe and what do people believe about it. We will definitely going to talk about that as well.
Right. Do you have this impression that the more developed countries, in the more developed countries, people are more aware of the situation and they are more likely to respond positively to what the government is asking them to do? I mean, isolation is it easier for these countries than it is for the less developed countries, because people are more concerned with about going back to work, going back to study?
Well, one thing was my perception that I think that I had that kind of an impression that in developing countries, people will observe lockdown more seriously and things like that, and they will be, doing things in a better way than countries like mine. But when it comes to the lockdown, we started observing the lockdown in second week of March, and it has been now the fifth week we are entered in. So initially, for the first 3 weeks, I was surprised to see that people were actually observing lockdown very seriously. The offices were closed, everything was closed. People, because in Pakistan, the lifestyle is very different as compared to the Western countries. Because here, people like to, Lahore is especially a city full of life, where people like to stay outside of their homes. They sit outside their homes till late at night. Even the older people used to sit in a form of a gatherings outside the parks and streets, and they keep eating and laughing till late at night. So we have a culture like that. There's festivity going on all the time. So suddenly the lockdown changed the life, and everyone has to stay at home, especially the elder ones were more at risk, so they were more being observed in lockdown. So first 3 weeks were like that. Maybe it was a fear of death, it was a fear of disease. We were hearing so much bad news from China, from America, from Italy, that people really, really took that very seriously. But since the last few weeks, when the government has announced that there is some soft edge they have given to the lockdown, and they give some relaxation to different businesses and to different things, and they have opened some kind of the shops which were mandatory and very important to function. So by that time, last 2 weeks, and meanwhile, the holy month of Ramzan started in Pakistan. As a Muslim country, we observe that month with a great festivity, and people do a lot of shopping and food and everything, and then they go for religious prayers in mosques and things like that. So the situation has changed a bit more, and that was one of the reasons that the number of cases has started increasing, because people are going outside to do shopping for food, for religious practices, and that is, in return, is going to increase around 7 to 800 cases per day, which was like 1 to 200 cases earlier. So it's multiplying because the government has given a relaxation and people are misusing it now. So I think if it would be a strict lockdown by the government, people would be observing that fully. But if it will be given a leverage like that, people may misuse it. And it is linked to another reason, because in Pakistan, as that we are economically not a strong country, and because of lockdown, the financial burden is getting higher and higher. In Pakistan, majority of the wealth is contributed by 5% of the people known, and large Pakistani population earn just $1.25 each day, which is a very very small amount, because a lot of people are daily wages here, or they are the street vendors, or they just earn their money by doing their work on daily basis. So the financial burden is really, really high. So people basically go out of their home because they want to earn something, to bring some food, to bring some money at their home. That is one of the very, very important reasons that not only the psychological burden of social distancing is high, but the financial burden is very, very high. And that is causing psychological and emotional disturbances. Most of the calls which I received on my online counseling was related to the financial and economical pressures the men were feeling. Most of the cases who called me were men, and they were very, very much worried about that they don't have money to bring food for home to do, so that their children and family can fast. So, these kind of the problems are more. And the kind of the financial support which government is trying to provide is very minimum, and it's for the very, very poor people. So the middle class, is being ignored, and the people who used to work in factories, the factories are being closed, so they don't have any work. So these kinds of things are being mixed up, the financial, psychological, and emotional burden,
I see.
right?
Well, it has been really a big challenge for every one of us, and I see how the situation in your country is also difficult. Amina, as a psychologist, do you think this is an opportunity for humanity to rethink its values, to rethink its relations with other countries? I mean, we work in the International Council of Psychologists, and as we do, many other people work in international organizations. And I think it's a very good opportunity. It's a very good way to know that we are not alone in this world. And I think, from my perspective, is that a virus that we can't see and that started in the other side of the world for us here in Brazil, and it spread it throughout everywhere, and made us think that we have to be more connected with other countries. What do you think? Do you think it's possible that we change
Uh,
after this pandemic?
I think, Alison, the whole world will change after that. It's already started changing. I think every definition of being normal is new. It would be the new normal, the new world. The things are being reshaped. Not only the values, the humanity, you can see that physically the things are being changed. The environment is much cleaner now. You can see that this was a debate long been going on, that how we can, clean the environment. But once this COVID is happened, everything has been changed. People are at their home. The prices of, oil and other things are being changed. So everything is in a phase of transition, and so are the human thinking and human beliefs and human values. I think we strongly believe that if we do not develop in ourselves the idea of coexistence, nothing could be possible to change. If we think that we are in pain, I equally look at the people who are standing in the long queues in America for getting some help by the government, which I have never seen in my 40 years of life. Since my childhood, I have ever been, told that America is a prosperous country and the people living are healthy and wealthy. They don't need any aid and support. They tend to give aid and support to other countries. But when I look at the long queues that people are standing in a long queues to get some help, to get some financial aid by the government, I felt the same pain I feel for my people here. When I looked at, if every day the beggars came to my house and they asked for some food and money to just pass their one-time need. So I think it's the same. The pain is the same, so feeling is the same, and it will definitely connect us all at one page. That we should think that there should be something big for the humanity we should do. And when I used to teach my active citizen modules, I used to do an exercise that if you have limited resources and you have to, manage the world, and you are part of one country, you have more resources, and in some exercises you have less resources, how you are going to manage the world. I'm going to see that picture for my own eyes in my actual life now. It's
Yes.
it's the same world where we are experiencing that exercise, that the countries are in a situation where there are few resources which some countries have, and there are few resources which some countries don't have. So we really need to sit and to dialogue that what we can do for each other, rather than just debating on the name of the religion and the name of education on ethnicity and other different, social classes and etc. etc. We should really need to think that how we can help each other on the name of humanity only, not on the basis of the color, on the race, on the religion. So I give this message to my people as well, because in general world, the Muslims are being considered as being very, conservative and not to open up to the world. But it's not like that. We people really think and feel that if there is any issue, we should think about everyone, not about on the basis of different classes. So it's definitely going to change the world, and there would be a new normal after that.
You said everything. I totally agree, and I hope that it really happens to every one of us. And I'm very glad to hear that, to hear and to see that you are doing your part in that. Amina, it has been a very good talk. I'm very glad to hear a lot about your country, about your reality. I hope we can uh, come back to other interviews, to other talks. It's a very rich experience, and I hope you can also know more about my country, and I hope to know more about your country in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alison, for taking me on board for this interview. Honestly, when you asked for that, I felt that English is not my first language, and for interview, I may not be able to do well with that. But I felt that it's a great opportunity to speak about it and to share my feelings and to discuss about how we are observing that in different countries and at one stage, because you are doing a great job, you are doing a fabulous job to collect information from different countries. For that very reason, I really wanted to support you because I really feel thrilled by this idea that you would that in final phase we would be able to know about different countries, how people are dealing with it. So I chose to become the part of that. And thank you for inviting me for that interview.
Thank you very much, Amina. It was a pleasure. Okay, be safe,
Same here.
and I hope everything is better for every one of us.
Yes, for sure. And best wishes for you and for your country and for the interview series you are conducting. Thank you and best of luck to you. Okay,
Okay,
bye
good.
bye.
Bye bye, Amina.